Hey everybody, this is Perch. I talked about this in a previous video and it got some people upset. Not creators. Actually, I had a lot of creators reach out and say, hey, agreed with your take. Good job. A couple even said so in public. It was nice. But a lot of fans got really pissy about this take. And I had a lot of people. You know what always weirds me out is there's a handful of people who listen to the show and then they record clips of it and then they save it in a folder, or they go to Twitter and they save tweets and then they'll bring them out. And it always kind of weirds me out a little bit, not from a, ooh, somebody's on to me, but a, wow, this person is an insane stalker. Because somebody will post something and it's like, here's a tweet from Perch from 6 months ago that I've been saving. It's like, wow, you are crazy. You are crazy, sir. And that's how these. I mean, I always wonder, like, because these people present themselves as the good guys. They're policing the internet. They're here to make sure that the bad people are exposed. And so they pick who the bad people are, which always conveniently are people who don't agree with them ideologically. Those are the bad people. It is possible, by the way, to have a disagreement with somebody about an ideological thing, and both of you are good guys. You know, it's crazy. Also possible both of you are bad guys. It's also crazy how that works. But anyway, it's a fun little fact. But anyway, I always wonder the people who do this and they're like, I'm trying to protect the internet from bad people by posting up these screenshots that I've been saving in a folder of various people online that I don't like for months at a time. Like you sound like a supervillain. Like I understand how people who are maybe working in a fast food place and everything else, just kind of figuring out where they're going. No knock against white collar, blue collar workers, but people who are in comics who read stories about heroes and villains, like you shouldn't be confused about this. Like you of all people should understand what supervillain behavior is and what hero behavior is. But anyway, be that as it may. The thing that got people worked up was I did this video saying, about the, comics made for angry white males. And my point of that was to say, the people like to argue back and forth. People also like to casually throw that out. It always irks me when people throw it out around the 70s and 80s, back when comics were problematic and written for angry white males, except they weren't. Except that's patently untrue, which people who bought comics, people who had comic shops in the 80s, will tell you that their clientele was not all angry white males. You had comics being produced with strong black characters in the leads in the Avengers and the X-Men simultaneously. You had queer characters. You had these things. Did you have a ton of them? No. That's true. If that's your argument, there wasn't enough, then you could argue that point. And that at least is a factual argument. But to make this other claim is always ridiculous. It just, by factually, it is ridiculous. It's not subjective. It fails a factual test. But it got people angry because apparently I was denying racism, or I have no idea exactly what was getting them irked. But again, a number of creators reached out and said, hey, we agreed with that take. That actually is a good take. Because at the core of that take is this simple question. And it really is a question I haven't gotten a great answer from the people who are detractors, which is to say, why do the publishers not prioritize leading ongoing comics with diverse characters? They talk about diversity all the time. They talk about it's very important to grow their audience and everything else, and it's like, okay, cool, but at the end of the day, they're in charge. They're the publisher. The way the conversation goes, it really confuses me. Is it's like, well, we're trying to do diversity, but those pesky Twitter fans keep getting in our way. How? You are the company. You make the products. It's all you. I saw this very kind of baffling article where it was talking about, I think it was on the Mary Sue or one of these sites, and it was like, well, publishers shouldn't even care about making money in order to promote diversity, because that's just the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to promote diversity, whether it makes money or not. Okay, I think there's a problem there. If you don't make money, you can't pay people to actually work at your company. Company goes out of business. I think that's a general problem. But for the moment, let's go with what a lot of conspiracy YouTubers say, which is that Disney is propping up a failing business, right? They are, or the government or whatever else. They are propping up this money losing business. So it's actually not making any money. They're getting grants and other things to support themselves. Okay, if that's true, then once again I'm back to, all right. So why do you not have a leading superhero book that is featuring a diverse character? Why isn't the number one book at Marvel or DC feature a black queer character, female character? Why not? Why do we have a white blonde Captain Marvel who is straight? Seriously, you're the publisher. You can do whatever you want. This is the part that confuses me, is that at times it feels like the publisher is claiming they're the victim of this, that they're not able to do this, that they're somehow, some way, a bunch of unknown fans on Twitter are preventing them from telling good, diverse stories. And if only those people would go away, then they would be free to tell those diverse stories. But this makes no sense. None of those people on Twitter have any power whatsoever. The publisher can do literally anything they want. If DC wanted to eliminate all the male white characters completely, they could do it. They could do it tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. They'd have to, solicit the creators, and then they'd have to create the books and get them printed and go out to them. But they could do it in three to 4 months. It could be done. So who is who are we fighting against here? It really does confuse me what the argument is exactly. Why are we supposed to feel bad for the publishers for not being able to create this content that they have complete power to make anytime, any day? At some point, I have to ask the question, why do you keep canceling these books? Why? Why on a 50-year anniversary do we not have a Luke Cage book out? Why? That's not rando on Twitter or angry YouTube white male guy that made that decision. That's Marvel that made that decision. Marvel said, I'm not going to publish this comic featuring a prominent African-American male character who had a Netflix series and has an anniversary up for their appearance. You decided that. When I see the publisher talking about, well, there's a real underrepresentation of queer characters, within comics, it's like, you are in the power to solve that. You control that, whether there are 1 or 500. You, the publisher. Who are you? Who are the publishers talking to exactly when they make these comments? I mean, I understand this. It's a fun little battle to be had. But even like 2 years ago, when Joe Quesada is making these comments like, well, there's minorities and diverse characters are severely underrepresented in comics, even if there are trolls who are angry about that fact. It's like, but the trolls don't run your company. Well, I mean, you could argue maybe they do, but the trolls are not the people. These angry, outraged people don't have jobs in your company. You're in charge of your company. You're telling me Joe Quesada could not walk into the room and go, you know what? It's way past time that we cut down on these white male books and we have more diverse characters. I mean, you have Miles Morales, Latino, black Spider-Man character, kid, next generation, has a movie out. Yeah, why are you publishing Peter Parker? Marvel, why? Just stop. That's your character. That's your comic. Another question would be, why do you not have the top selling talents in the business doing your book? Hey, you've got Alex Ross. He does nice cover paintings. Why not give him extra money and have him do the entire title? You have Black Panther come out, and you routinely would put cheaper artists on Black Panther. You get Ta-Nehisi Coates come in, and you debut with Little Francis Yu is going to do the comic, and then we get Kubert for a little bit, and then we get a bunch of fill-in artists. Why are you doing that? Isn't the goal to promote some of these diverse creators and characters? Again, none of this is about fans on either side, by the way. So the people who are angry with me, why are you angry with me? Isn't the publisher the one you should be angry with? If you want more diverse characters, arguing with rando YouTuber or Twitter person is not going to do anything. Even if whether you win or lose the argument, you could make the most amazing, like you could stand up and post a brilliant meme and then dunk on the person and it gets 50,000 retweets and likes and everybody stands up and applauds when you come in the room. It doesn't matter. You've won against somebody who does not matter at all to the argument that you're making. So I have to ask, what are you going for here exactly? And I mentioned this to somebody else, and they're like, no, you see, Perch, it's not enough to get those comics published. They need everyone to submit and buy them, so they're also the strongest selling. Okay, that's weird. That's an impossible goal that you're going for there. You can't dictate consumer behavior. I'm sorry, you just can't. And if you want for something to be really popular, if you want for these comics to sell better than everything else, we get we have Nubia and the Amazons out right now. If you want that to be the number one selling comic, the only way to make that happen is by hitting the street and getting that comic out there. Is show it to people, buy it yourself, promote it. Unflinchingly try and get as big an audience as possible into this book. Yelling at racists on Twitter or people you think are racist, that's not going to make a single sale. So what are you after? So then I'm back to all right, well, if sales don't matter, again, who's in charge of these decisions? And the answer is the publisher. This argument around diversity in comics is a stupid argument because it's being had by people who are not making any of the decisions of whether to put these in. I have to imagine that a lot of the leadership at Marvel and DC in particular go on Twitter, look at some of this stuff, and just laugh their asses off because this whole war is being waged, and the people who actually make these decisions, get off scot-free. They have no Mr. Miracle pun intended, but they don't have to take a single complaint or piece of heat, even though they are the ones who decide what gets made. That's my point. When I do a video saying, why is Storm misused? The answer there is not to say, you damn YouTuber who's making these awful comments. The answer should be, yeah, why doesn't Storm have a ongoing solo book? Why? One of the most prominent characters in Marvel, 50 years of history to this character. Why isn't there a Storm ongoing? If you answer because it wouldn't sell, I thought we determined that comics don't need to sell. So therefore, why isn't there one? Why was Miss Marvel canceled? Why was America Chavez canceled? Why was Mosaic canceled? Why are all these books canceled? Why was Iceman canceled? Because of Twitter people? Because of fans? No. Again, the publisher makes that decision. They decided. If you're pissed about this stuff, stop taking it out on people who have absolutely zero bearing on this entire topic and start asking the question to the people who do, the publishers. I mean, am I crazy? I feel crazy when I talk about this topic because it is so, it feels very absurd. Um, again, maybe you have a good answer for this. By all means, I'd love to see it. Please explain to me how I'm the bad guy again, because I am irritated that Marvel is not publishing a Luke Cage book. Please, I'm all ears. Please tell me why there's no Blade book or War Machine book or any of these characters. But please, why is there no Storm? If it's my fault there's no Storm comic, I'd love to. I'd love to know. I mean, God, that'd be a wonderful day for somebody to come up to me and say it's your fault there's not a Storm comic because you are actually dictating what gets published at Marvel. I didn't realize I had that power. That's awesome. If I have that power, then can we get some good fucking solicitations out of the company once in a while? Can we get the covers remotely matching what goes inside the comic once in a while? And yeah, can we get a Storm comic? That would be great. I love that character. Would like to see it. Hey, Monica Rambeau, interested to see it. Would rather see that character, in her own book as opposed to, having a couple background pages that show up every once in a while in the white male Peter Parker Spider-Man. Sorry, Ben Reilly Spider-Man, the white male clone of the white male book, Spider-Man. Again, I didn't make that decision. You did, Marvel. So, what the hell? Thanks for listening.